What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Misfit Wrestling Podcast. I am your host, Matt the Misfit. This is the Monday Night Raw review for October the 14th, 2024. This is a taped episode of Monday Night Raw. This is the second week of the return to 2 hours. I unfortunately did not do last week's show because last week I was not feeling it at all to do anything podcast related. Which is why you didn't see me do a Bad Blood review, a Raw review, a SmackDown review, a Pile Driver Pulse review, or an NXT review. I was going to do one for NXT last week because I was actually able to watch the show. Didn't get to do any of that. Just wasn't feeling it. My ear was bothering me for majority of that week. It's fine now, and my tooth was bothering me. So, but we're back. We're going to go into a lot of things here. Pile Driver Pulse will be happening this week, depending on whether or not I decide to do a standalone NXT review, or I just lump that in with Pile Driver Pulse, because I do want to talk about Russell's Dream and my thoughts on Bad Blood and all that stuff, and what I think about the 2 hours so far for Monday Night Raw. And that will be on, hopefully this week, we'll find out. As well as I want to talk about New Japan Pro Wrestling's King of Pro Wrestling show, because I didn't get to talk about the show the other show that happened, the Stardom show from last week either. So there's some things announced for the what's that damn show called coming up? Historic Crossover, which is next month, and whatnot here. So yeah. But first, what I want you to do is follow the social medias, Pile Driver Pulse on Twitter, Misfit Wrestling Pod on Instagram, YouTube.com/@Misfit Wrestling Podcast. You can follow the other audio outlets where you can see Pile Driver Pulse, depending on whether or not I do it. Not privately, but you know what I meant. Publicly on YouTube or not, but it's going to be also on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Audible, and Pandora, all that stuff. Good stuff there. So, what did I think about the 2 hour Raw? I'm actually going to talk about that this week. So last week, I thought Raw last week was horrible. The 2 hour Raw thing last week kind of just was rushed, and everything didn't flow well. I thought this week was a lot better than last week. And it was a tape show. Not everything felt rushed this week. Thankfully, so it didn't feel like they were trying to jam 3 hours of commercial breaks in a 2 hour broadcast. But I said this in a chat room earlier. I said, Raw has been 3 hours for about 12 years now, right? I think it's at 12 years, right? 2012 is when they went to a 3 hour product. Yeah, so 12 years. It's going to take a while for the people who hated the 3 hours, like myself, when it was ran by Vince, to adjust back to the 2 hour format. Because when Triple H took over, Triple H handled the 3 hour show a lot more better than Vince McMahon ever did. And now he's working with a 2 hour show. They're probably going to go back to 3 hours. They might do a 3 hour, 2.5 hour, whatever the venue that they go to will allow them to do for Netflix, because they got they're not going to have the restraints to go when it comes to time on Netflix. So that's going to be good. So yeah. But yeah, I thought this week's 2 hour show flowed a little bit better. Still need some time here, and we'll talk about that with a lot of stuff here. We're gonna open up. The show opened up with Rhea Ripley, following who wasn't on the show last week. Following her stupid defeat at Bad Blood, which, oh my God, I hated that match so much. Oh, and Liv Morgan fans kind of just, they're terrible. They're just terrible. But Rhea says she's not done with Liv Morgan. I wish she was. And, I know she wished she was, based on her up down down live stream the other day. And Raquel Rodriguez, who by the way came back at Bad Blood, if you didn't know, for whatever reason they put them together. The Women's World Championship, whatever. She calls them out to the ring, but Tiffany Stratton, the Miss Money in the Bank winner, came out to make her way to the ring. People are wondering, well, they've already forgot about the Bryant's. I'm like, no, that is the rule for the Money in the Bank briefcase. They can cash in on any champion they want. It's just ever since Tiffany has won the briefcase, she's not actually appeared on Raw at all, I believe, since winning that briefcase. So this may kind of be the first time. Because I don't recall her coming up onto Raw when she won it. I could be wrong, though. But Stratton says that Rhea wasn't expecting her, but has an important message message for Rhea from Nia. Ripley says it's not TV time right now, and she gets into the faces of Tiffany Stratton. She says she shoves, Tiffany, but Tiffany returns the favor. Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez, who came out to a mild reaction, like they always do. I'm sorry, I have to point to that. I'm not going to save this a bit for Pile Driver Pulse, but my God, did no one give a single fuck about Raquel Rodriguez at Bad Blood? She came out, not a single person made a reaction. You could have heard a pin drop in that arena. Last Saturday, this 2 Saturdays ago at Bad Blood. I'm sorry. Good God. And then they come out on SmackDown, and again, no one cared. And I'll talk about this because this will tie into the main event. Because this crowd, even though it was a taped crowd, did not give a single shit about this. They didn't even care about it last week when they showed Raquel on the screen. They don't care about this program anymore. Good God. I'll rant about that when we get to the ending of the show here. But we find out later on, of course, it sets up that the main event is going to be Rhea Ripley and Tiffany Stratton versus Raquel and Liv Morgan in the main event. So there's that. We got the Sky Pirates challenging Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill, unfortunately. Not unfortunately, depending on who you ask. So last week they kind of set this up here. And then on SmackDown, they, for some odd reason, had Jakara, Jackson, and Lash Legend get a title match. When they didn't do anything to get a title match. This is one of the things I hate about AEW, and the AEW is doing it already. But had not a very good match on SmackDown. Do I think they should have given them a little more time? Sure. But I don't book the shows, so But this may have been the best title defense that they've had since they won the tag team titles from Kairi and Asuka. I don't know, who did they wrestle at Bash in Berlin? Who did they wrestle at Bash in Berlin? Let's look. I'm almost positive they defended they did they win? Yes, they did. Yeah, so yeah, I didn't really care for that match either. So I think this may have been their best match that they had since winning the tag titles, because Sky Pirates are awesome. There are still people on this platform on social media that think Kairi Sane is washed. And she and this year alone is trying to tell you nah. And Io Sky is obviously. If I had to venture out to guess here, that woman might actually be in the top 5 for the PWI 250 or 150 women list. I wouldn't be surprised if she's number 1 or 2. Fucking idiots on social media will be like, oh, Liv Morgan's good. I'm like, they don't only count 2024, and even the majority of 2024, she was not doing very much up until she won the title from fucking Becky Lynch. And even when she won the title from Becky Lynch, she hasn't done much with the title. So no, Liv Morgan's not going to be in the top 5 or 10 maybe. She's lucky enough if she makes the top 15. They look at June of 2024 to June 2023 to June 2024. Most of 2023, the majority of 2023, guess who wasn't around? Liv Morgan. Guess who was around? Io Sky. Yeah, I'm just saying. So Io Sky, who I think is actually probably the best women's wrestler on the roster right now. Okay, scale it back on the main roster, because now they got Stephanie Vakira and Julia, and soon debuting Delta on NXT. But first, just talk about main roster. I think Io Sky is probably the best women's wrestler that they got. So I'm gonna have some news though I want to talk about when it comes to it's not pertaining to Io Sky, but it is related in a way to her fellow Japanese superstar roster member Shinsuke Nakamura. We'll talk about him in a little bit here. But yeah, this match was actually really good. I enjoyed it. Io Sky is great. Kyrie's great. They're getting over with the fans, and I love that. I'm so glad that they turned them babyface. It was really hard to boo Kyrie. It's really hard to boo Io. They didn't want to. Again, they're still planting the seeds for the heel turn for either Dakota for Bianca Belair, because Jade Cargill again accidentally hit Bianca. And I don't give a fuck what she says. I don't give a fuck that what Bianca says. Well, I don't want to turn heel. I'm like, it's not up to you. I'm sorry, but you are better off as a heel right now. I don't know. I think babyface Bianca is a little bit cringe, if I'm being completely honest here. And I don't want to hear those people like, oh, she can't do babyface when a heel. I'm like, she did it in NXT. I think Triple H booked her a little bit better as a heel than he does as a babyface. That's just me. But near the end of the match here, so as I said, Jakara Jackson and Lash Legend went at ringside. They basically distracted Io. The referee, I guess, was distracted. Either he was distracted or he looked and just didn't give a shit, like the AEW referees don't. Dex Io. Io gets to the ring. Unfortunately, eats another pinfall from Bianca Belair. But again, Io Sky now is 14-7 this year. Since being drafted to Raw. She's had let's retract that. This year alone, she's had, if you're counting, if you want to count the Marty Gold match, then there's 15 matches, 15 wins in singles and tag matches on television, with 7 losses. But if you don't want to count the Marty Gold match, then it's 14. That's a better win-loss record than most people in WWE currently for the women. I just thought I'd throw that out here. So there's that. The War Raiders returned. They defeated Alpha Academy, squashed them immediately. I'm so glad that the War Raiders are back. Ivo and Eric, they're unfortunately keeping that name, but I guess it's fine. I'm just glad they're back as War Raiders, and I'm glad they got back the NXT theme. How long that lasts, I don't know. I want to say they will keep that theme. And here's the thing: if Shinsuke Nakamura and who else? Who's the only one? If Shinsuke Nakamura and Becky Lynch can keep their who else has got a CFO theme that they've kept? If Bianca Belair, let's see, if Bianca, Becky Lynch, uh, Kevin Owens. Here, let me think about it. So if Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, Becky Lynch, Bianca Belair, and who else am I thinking of here? Shinsuke Nakamura. Let me look at it. Drew McIntyre can keep their CFO themes. If they can keep their CFO themes, why can't the War Raiders? You know what I'm saying? You get what I'm saying, right? Karrion Kross was technically still we sure they made a theme for him, but these guys don't. Well, no, Def Rebel made that theme. Never mind, screw that. Rollins. Oh no, Rollins didn't keep that theme either. What am I talking about? I don't know where I was going with that. Anyways, my point is, I hope they get to keep that theme. I think they will, but it was announced that we got a tag team tournament that's going to be taking place here. I'm assuming the War Raiders are going to be in that. They might be wrestling next week. I don't know. I got to look here. Give me a second. New Day. So let me look. Let me see if I can look up this. All right, tag team tournament. So I don't know if so I'm not entirely sure if hold on a second. Apparently somebody didn't watch the show last week where it found out that Ilya Dragunov was out with an injury. That's another thing I want to talk about here. I'm going to talk about that here when we get to Gunther. So I'm assuming War Raiders have a area of this tag tournament. I don't know. We'll see when we get to there. But speaking of Gunther, here we go. So Cody Rhodes comes out, basically saying, "Oh, this is what happened last time we were here. We got the week. You want Cody chance." Gunther comes out. It was found out last week that we unfortunately come to find out that not Gunther. It wasn't last. It was not last week, was it? It was either last week or the week before. But no, I think it was the week before that we found out that Ilya Dragunov was going to be out 6 to 9 months for a torn ACL. So speedy recovered to Ilya. Man, my pick to win the men's Royal Rumble went out the window when he got hurt. So I'm gonna go with my second option, which is CM Punk. But we'll see about that here. CM Punk also will not be at the Crown Jewel show because fuck Saudi Arabia. And guess who's not going to review that show? Me. I'm probably going to review like I did last year. I think I did it last year. Where I reviewed a Stardom show, which is going to be the first night of the Tag League. Actually, wait, let me see. Actually, let me look at the things for that. Let's see, Tag League. Actually, you know what? Actually, this is a good idea here. Good idea. Let me go to We Are Stardom. We are Stardom. Okay. There's Stardom here. I don't know if they put it up here or not. They probably didn't. Let's see if we can find. Here we go. So, it's okay. Nice. All right. Back-to-back days are going to be live. Okay, that's good. So I'm probably going to, instead of reviewing that show, I'm going to review. Yeah, I'm going to probably review the first 2 days of the Goddess Tag League. So that's good. That's how I'm going to do it. But yeah. So basically, he calls him, the secondary champion. Cody says, I've displayed beasts and I beat the most dominant champion this company has ever seen. He says, good luck to you on November the 3rd. And he says, yes, good luck to me, the champion. Which is cold from which is very cold from Gunther. So is it? Wait a minute. Is it the 3rd or is it? Hold on. WWE Crown. I'm pretty sure it's the third, right? Or no, it's November 2nd. I don't know why. I don't know why I thought it was the third. uh, who knows? But yeah. So this. Okay, this is something I want to talk about here because I talked about this earlier with one of my friends, and I said, everyone's saying, "Oh, WWE's they care about the brand split. Oh, they fucked it up. There's fucking Jimmy Uso's on here, and Cody Rhodes and Nia Jax and Tiffany Stratton." And I'm like, the people who say that are the same people who want brand versus brand for Survivor Series to come back. Literally, these are the same people that don't like the brand split, but yet complain when they don't do the brand split properly, but then want the brand versus brand thing back for Survivor Series. Well, explain to me why you want the brand versus brand match at Survivor Series concept for Survivor Series, but yet complain and bitch and moan when somebody from SmackDown shows up on Raw and somebody from Raw shows up on SmackDown. They did it on SmackDown too. They had Rhea Ripley show up and beat up Rhea Ripley. They had Rhea, Dom, Liv, and Raquel show up on SmackDown. So I would love for you to tell me the difference here. Why you want to complain about that, but yet want the brand versus brands. The brand versus brand for Survivor Series thing is a dead concept. It died when Vince McMahon ruined it. Okay. Listen, as much as I love Survivor Series 2019, that's one of my favorite. Outside of Survivor Series 2001 and maybe 2005, that's my third favorite Survivor Series event, right? But it's a dead concept. So is this thing. I don't give a shit about the Crown Jewel stuff either. So I'm sure Cody Rhodes and I'll cover Crown Jewel in the fucking Pile Driver Pulse Up show, but I'm not going to do it as a single review. That's not going to happen. So you guys can forget about that. I'm sure Cody and Gunther are going to have a classic match. They had a great classic. Was it 20 minutes in the final spot of the 2023 Royal Rumble last year? So yeah. Braun Breaker defeats Cody. Not Cody Rhodes. Braun Breaker defeated Kofi Kingston. No, Xavier Woods on the outside here. Xavier Woods comes out after Kofi was getting the shit kicked out of him. And then Jey Uso's music hits and he comes out to help him. We saw earlier on we've seen Braun Breaker says he's sucking off his family's legacy. Yep. That was the words that came out of Braun Breaker's mouth. But interesting enough, Jey Uso gets ready to go to what I assume is Adam Pearce's locker room, or either his own. And in there is Jey Uso. Jimmy Uso asks, "Got a minute?" And Jey Uso walks off. Later on, Jey Uso's looking for Jimmy. No, not Jimmy. Jimmy's looking for Jey. And Jey gets in the frame. It's like, listen, you gotta hear me out. And Jay's like, get out of my face, dog. Basically, he pulled a Christian telling the Bloodline to go fuck themselves, which I thought was funny. Bro, as he should. Why should he automatically forgive Jey Uso and Roman and the rest of the Bloodline for what he's done for the past 6 months? Last 12 months. Why should he care? You know what I'm saying? So, we found out that next week it's going to be Braun Breaker versus getting another shot, getting his rematch clause against his Intercontinental title rematch against Jey Uso. So that's going to happen next week. We saw a sit-down interview with Bronson Reed. Bronson Reed wearing a Big Van Vader shirt. he basically is saying he wants Seth Rollins. Rollins says he wants Bronson Reed. So I'm going to assume they're either going to save this match for Crown Jewel, or they're going to do it on the Crown Jewel, one of the go home show for Crown Jewel. Maybe we'll see. When that match happens, I'm going to be here for it because that is going to be a great match. We see Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley have encouraging words before Rhea Ripley's tag match against Raquel and Liv Morgan. R-Truth goes to the ring for his match with The Miz. During the match, by the way, while the match is going on, we saw the glitch for the Wyatt Sicks. As you guys have pretty much figured out, I didn't get to talk about this last week. It is very much, at this point, very much confirmed that the Wyatt Sicks are not only targeting The Miz, but they're also targeting the Final Testament. Because as soon as this happened, Final Testament comes out to the ring, distracts The Miz. Unfortunately, the R-Truth rolls up The Miz, gets the win. After the match, Truth celebrates by hugging Miz and carrying Cross for whatever reason. Cross orders the Authors of Pain to intercept, and they do, dumping him into the ring for The Miz to hit the skull crushing finale. One of the let me see if I can find the Wyatt Sicks stuff here. Let me go to Slam X, my good buddy Slam X here. So let me see. So during there was we seen the Wyatt Sicks did tweet out after this match was over with and said, you could have stopped this. Did coordinates? This is 39.9012 and it's then 75.1720. That is coordinates to the Wells Fargo Center. Where what's happening there? Next week's Monday Night Raw is going to be taking place from the Wells Fargo Center in Brooklyn, not Brooklyn, New York. What the fuck is that place called? Oh my God, what is that damn place called? Philadelphia. Which is very interesting. Very interesting that was some stuff from so there's that. So it looks like there's some flashing images up on the screen. I don't know what this one image says here. But I'm not entirely sure what the words are that are being said. There was some other stuff here, which is OB 113. I'm not entirely sure it said, but that was it says, "Pride the pride of your heart has deceived you. You who lived in the clefts of the rock and make your home on the heights, and you who say to yourself, who can bring me down to the ground? Your heart was filled up because your beauty, you're corrupted your wisdom for the sake of your splendor. I think that's what it says. I cast you to the ground. I lay you before kings, and that they might gauge you," which is Zeke 28:17. Again, some other stuff here. So this is again. So I'm gonna assume here, because we found out that next week one of the tag championship tournament matches, because now they're finally getting fed up with the Judgment Day not defending their titles. One of the matches, obviously, we've seen is Dragon Lee and Rey Mysterio versus American Made. The other one being the New Day versus the Authors of Pain. And I think this is when the Wyatts are going to get involved here. I think the Wyatts could cost Authors of Pain the match. We'll see. But I think this is where the Wyatts get involved here, because I think they're going to be going towards the Wyatts versus Oh my God, what's the name of that damn thing called? Wyatt's and I almost said Alpha Academy Final Testament. So, so yeah. But yeah, I think that's what's gonna happen here. So yeah. Main event: Rhea Ripley, Tiffany Stratton. They went to a double disqualification because Nia Jax came in and just beat the shit out of everyone, and people cheered for Nia Jax beating the shit out of Liv Morgan. I laughed about it. I laughed so hard for it. Obviously she didn't get to hit an Annihilator, but you know, Tiffany and Rhea Ripley didn't get too much of didn't really get along here, but yeah. But other than that, like I said here, that was Monday Night Raw. Very short episode. These episodes are going to be very short now because of the 2-hour format here. But yeah, let me see if there's any newsworthy stuff to come out of this show here. So let me see. Joe Hendry, actually. Here's some interesting stuff. Joe Hendry, his contract apparently is up early 2025. He kind of sort of spoiled his Royal Rumble appearance in a way. He's going to be I believe he's going to be challenging for the TNA Championship at Bound for Glory. Against, I want to say, I think it's Nick Nemeth for the title. So yeah. The Motor City Machine Guns is gonna debut this week on NXT. This week on fucking SmackDown. They're gonna be taking on Angel Garza and Humberto Carrillo of Legado del Fantasma. So that should be a lot of fun. Motor City Machine Guns. They kind of pretty much confirmed that's who that's going to be next week. So that's going to be very, very good here. Very good in stuff here. CM Punk, obviously not going to be a part of the Saudi Arabia deal. He's not going to do any Saudi Arabia stuff because, fuck that. So there's that. One more bit of news here. Shinsuke Nakamura. Yes, the king of strong style. Is going to be going back over to Pro Wrestling Noah. That is right, Shinsuke Nakamura. It was announced a little earlier this morning that Shinsuke Nakamura, if I can find the tweet here, is going to take on Ulka Sasaki for Pro Wrestling Noah, and that's going to be happening on, I believe what's the show? The January 1st show. So he's going to be doing, once again, the January 1st show. His last match in Pro Wrestling Noah was against the Great Muta. So he's going to be doing that stuff. That's going to be during Wrestle Kingdom week, where we got obviously Stardom's Dream Queendom. We have this show with Pro Wrestling Noah. I think Marty Gold has a show that day. Let me see. Marty Gold. That feels for Marty Gold has, I think it's called First Dream. I think that's the name of the show. Yeah, isn't it First? No, it's not. Is it First Dream? Yeah, First Dream, which is going to take place on January 3rd. We do know that the main event that show is going to be today, defending the Marty Gold title against Utami Hayashishita. We got Wrestle Kingdom 19, which is going to take place on January the 4th. We also, I believe, Stardom also has the Newgate show, January 3rd. Same day as, is it the same day? Is that the same day? I'm not entirely sure. Let me look here. I'm going to look that up here. Let me look here. Well, let me do some. Nope. Hold on a second. Wonder Ring. Here we go. All right, let me look this up here. I'm not entirely sure, but I'm almost positive that's what that is. Here, give me a second here. It's January 3rd. Okay, so I was correct on that. I don't know if any matches announced for that show. And then we got Wrestle Kingdom 19, and then Wrestle Dream. Not Wrestle Dream, Wrestle Dynasty as well. So yeah. I think that's pretty much it there. I'll talk about Hiroshi Tanahashi with him announcing his retirement for 2026. We'll talk about that and much more on the Pile Driver Pulse. But yeah, that's all I got for you this week for the Monday Night Raw review. Very short episode because it's a 2-hour show, and normally I do like an hour of this, almost an hour, but it's usually a 3-hour show. But yeah, I will see you back here hopefully tomorrow, hopefully for NXT. If not NXT, it's the Pile Driver Pulse. That's going to be happening, where if I don't do just a standard NXT review, I will do the Pile Driver Pulse. I'm going to go over Bad Blood and Wrestle Dream and Stardom's pay-per-view event from last weekend. The whole thing with Stephanie Fakir and Julia and all that stuff, as well as SmackDown and what I think about Wrestle Dream and all that shit and all that stuff that I was talking about earlier with Hiroshi Tanahashi and stuff. So yeah. Until then, I've been Matt the Misfit. This has been the Misfit Wrestling Podcast. We're out.
Dreams and fire.